Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to our second demonstration of the day here. My name is Debbie. I'm a member of the National Association of Flower Arranging Societies, known as NAFA. And I'll tell you a little bit about those as we go. Today I'm going to create a few fairly simple designs. So they're going to be used, created from containers that you could buy from a charity shop maybe, something you might have at home, just some simple designs. And my first container is actually something I bought from a charity shop, lovely silver vase, and inside there, to place my stems, I put some chicken wire. Now you might think that you want to put chicken wire in that's quite a small gauge so that it will hold your stems. But in actual fact, you want a chicken wire that's probably about 2-inch gauge, so about this wide. And if you can't, wait to layer the chicken wire. Don't scrunch it all up, you layer it and your flowers will go in there much better. So another idea, this is probably the simplest way of flower arranging. You know, if you get a bunch of flowers, if you put them in a vase, they sort of flop to the side, don't they? So a really great idea is just do a crisscross. You can do this with some garden twine as I've done here. You can put an elastic band around there and put some tape on. So that's your easiest, simplest way. You can do lots of that with some great containers. I just have to say it's fantastic to have Captain America here today. I hope you enjoy the demonstration as well. So, as we've got a lovely silver container, there's many colours that I could use for that. And I'm actually going to start with some fabulous Farida carnations. Aren't they just gorgeous colours? And carnations are such a fantastic flower. They're very robust, very hardy, and beautiful flower arranging. So to tell you a little bit more about NAFAS, it was formed back in 1959, and a group of flower arrangers, flower arranging societies and garden clubs all came together to form what we have now as the National Association. There are now actually 21 areas throughout the UK, and flower clubs hold meetings usually once a month where they have a flower club meeting. You'll watch a demonstration similar to this, but also have the opportunity to spend time with your like-minded friends who also love flowers, and also have the opportunity to come and visit shows such as this and do workshops and learn a little bit more about the art of flower arranging. So as you can see, these are just going straight into the chicken wire. Now obviously with chicken wire, the more stems that you place into your container, the more stable it'll become. So don't kind of feel a bit anxious if your stems are running away with you to begin with. If you put a bit of foliage into there, that also will make it more stable. Today I'm going to use some eucalyptus, a beautiful grey-blue foliage. Native to Australia, and it's one of the foods of the old koala bears, their favourite food. So I'm just going to pop some of the eucalyptus in. Now NAFAS is also affiliated to the WAFA, which is the World Association of Flower Arrangers. And as I say, you'd be very welcome to come along to a flower club. Now, if it's something that you've never been to, and you're wondering, will that be good? Do try it. We definitely suggest coming along to a club. If you want to find out your nearest one to you, come and ask us. We will help you out with that. And take a chance, go along, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. So you'll see, as I start to put more of the flowers in, it becomes more stable, and I can increase the height in the container. A couple of beautiful chrysanthemums. These are called pip. Chrysanthemums being native to China. Now I have stripped a lot of the foliage. You don't want to put too much foliage from the flowers into the design and have the designs overstuffed, if you like. Now, if you're looking for inspiration for ideas, we do have our fabulous flower arranging magazine, The Flower Arranger. You're welcome to come and have a look at these back issues that I brought with me. They can give you some great hints and tips and ideas. There is an article in The Flower Arranger called You Be the Judge. Now, you may have looked at some of the fabulous exhibits in the tent, in the marquee here, and you may think, oh, I wouldn't have given that a place, or I'd have given this one first. Your ideas may be different. And it's interesting, if you look in the Flower Ranger, you can perhaps have a look at the principles, the elements of design that have given the judges their decision that they've come to, amongst other criteria. Now, I wanted to bring a different texture and form into the design. So I've got the fabulous Saponaria. This is from the soapwort, one of the soapworts, and it's a very delicate little flower. It's actually related to Gypsophilia, but instead of having the bell-shaped calyx, it's actually got a cylindrical calyx. Now the Latin name for the Saponaria comes from sapo, which is soap. And actually, we do have a soap that is made from the Saponaria. It has the saponins in it, and it's actually used to clean delicate tapestries. So just a nice delicate form in the design. Now of course, as with everything, different styles of flower arranging have come and gone, come back in again. Chicken wire is actually something that's been used for a long, long time, but now it's come back even further, and that's largely due to the fact that we're trying to use less floral foam. Floral foam does contain plastic in it, which obviously will then go into the water source, which is obviously what we don't want. So we are looking to use more sustainable plant materials where possible, and chicken wire is a really, really useful mechanic. As you can see, it's something here that I can create a really lovely, pretty vase of flowers just with the chicken wire. Just going to take the stronger Farida colour a little higher into the design. Some of the ivy, the heterohelix. Now as we've got a hard edge on that container there, I just wanted to take some of the foliage over that. A little bit more of the eucalyptus. So we've got flower clubs. Some meet in the evening, some are in daytime. We do now have a club in Cheshire who's actually an online club. So if you're unable to actually physically get to a meeting, but would still like to join a flower club, it's something you may like to consider. So you'll be able to see the demonstration via Zoom, and then you'll be shown the actual final arrangements close up. The only difference is you wouldn't get the chance to win your raffle prize. Now today, all of these flower arrangements will be in the raffle. Ladies coming around with raffle tickets if you'd like to buy one. Now I've got some fabulous euonymus here. This is a variegata. Isn't it gorgeous? So this is just going to bring us something different into this design, a little bit of texture, a bit of height. And it's adding something a little bit different to what is a very simplistic, basically, vase of flowers. Now, obviously we've got a really strong colour with our silver container there. So I wanted to just link that in, bringing it all together. So I'm actually going to use some seed pods. These are poppy seed heads. Now I have sprayed them. I do love to spray things. We do have to be mindful, obviously, when we're spraying plant materials, is they're not eligible for your green bin. So it is something you need to think about. We need to try and work as sustainably as we possibly can. But this will just link and bring some rhythm into the design by repeating that colour, the strong colour of silver, into the flowers. Here's a gorgeous poppy seed heads. So there we are, just a really simple vase of flowers that you could do in chicken wire. Thank you very much. Right, for my next design, I like to find things in the charity shops. And this is something I found that could be quite interesting. It's a handbag, basically, a rattan handbag. I've just popped it on a base, just a block of wood, and then we're just using a small piece of foam. Now inside here I have some sisal, and I'll tell you about the sisal. Sisal is actually a gorgeous fibrous plant material. It's from the Agave siciliana plant, and as I say, it's very coarse fibrous material, very useful in a lot of plant and flower arranging designs. And I've actually started making little jewellery pieces using the sisal. I love to work with it in decorative pieces. And if you're interested in having a look at that, please do come and have a look. We actually do some short online classes to learn how to make these sisal jewellery. Now, as you can see at the back of the design, I've already started to put a little bit of greenery. So we've got some of the Pittosporum and some of our eucalyptus. And I'm going to bring the flowers across the bag so that it stops the container becoming too dominant and it all links together. And I've got some gorgeous white flowers for this design. Starting with some fabulous chrysanthemums. Aren't they gorgeous? These are called Etrusco. Absolutely stunning. Now apparently you can eat both the flowers and the leaves of the chrysanthemums. I don't know how true that is, I've never tried it knowingly. Although I did live in Hong Kong for a while, and we used to eat lots of all sorts of greenery from the plants from the stalls there, the market stalls, and so I may well have eaten chrysanthemums, not knowing. As I say, our flower arranging has evolved over the years, and often, as with other designs, styles come and go and come back again. So you're thinking about the chicken wire. That's been around for so long, and yet now we're sort of almost looking at it like a new thing. It definitely wasn't. And I think back to a couple of designers. There's a fabulous designer, Mrs. Beaton, back in the 30s. She used to talk about doing a naturalistic design. And she would put her flowers in the design to look as though they were just growing there naturally. And we do that now, and we call it a naturalistic design, and it's thought to be quite contemporary. But she was doing it back in the 30s, so it certainly isn't a contemporary design or a new design. And also we have the lovely Constance Spry, who you may have heard of. Now it's largely due to Constance Spry that our flower arranging is thought of to be the art form that it is today. Just going to show you where we're going there. So I'm just grouping the chrysanthemums and just starting to bring them across the bag. Some lovely little gerberas or geminis. These are called permit. Just a nice soft green. Now I do love gerberas and geminis, but I always think they need a little bit of extra TLC. They do have quite a furry stem, so they don't like a lot of water up their stems, but they do like to drink a lot. So if you're putting them in test tubes, you do need to keep an eye that they haven't run dry. Now I know today we'll have people who are flower enthusiasts here, and we'll have gardeners, some people perhaps new to flower arranging. So for those of you who don't know, all of the flowers I'm using today have been well conditioned, and I condition them by taking the outer leaves off if they've got a stem with leaves, and then I cut them, always cutting them at a 45-degree angle. That way they have the largest surface area at their base to take up as much water as possible. And if you're given the flower food with your plants, flowers when you buy them, definitely use it. It's definitely a good idea. This is a lovely soft ruscus. It's a very malleable, pliable plant material, beautiful soft green leaves. Just giving you a bit of length to our arch. Always thinking about the back of your designs. It's always important to have actual balance as well as the visual balance in your design. You don't want them falling over. Now these are fabulous little ornithologan, beautiful, also known as chincheries. And each of these have got so many beautiful tiny buds. These will open up, they'll last for such a long time. They're not quite as open as I would have hoped, but you can see there the delicate little flowers on them. So it's amazing what you can find in a charity shop that you can use. If anyone has any questions, do feel free to shout out. I will try and help you. Now I'm very fortunate to use a fabulous wholesaler in Chorley itself, and they are Flower Vision. And I'm very fortunate, I live in Formby, and they do deliver to me at home, and we have a fabulous range of flowers to purchase from them. Just show you where we're going with this. Now obviously we've got a really lovely fluffy texture with the chrysanthemums. So we want to add a little bit of smooth texture which we have with our foliages. Just giving some contrast in our design. So I think we're about done. A couple more of our lovely ornate, which will all open up and give us some more white in our designs. There we are with our charity shop handbag. Thank you very much. Now I thought for my last design I would do a hand tie. I think sometimes people get a bit scared of a hand tie, but if you use a structure, I think it can really help. And so I've made rather colourful structure. This is made with Midolino. Midolino is just thin strips of rattan. It's a round rattan, so it's Italian for rattan. Obviously we've got turquoise. Turquoise is probably my favourite colour, but I don't get to use it so much for flower arranging because we don't have a lot of turquoise flowers. Although obviously we do see turquoise in nature, and we see lots of turquoise and orange together maybe, lovebirds and kingfishers. But I think turquoise and cerise could be a really beautiful combination. So I've got some lovely purple, these are actually called purple carnations, although I would call them cerise. Colour is an interesting topic, isn't it? Because we all see colour differently. colour means different things to different people. So as you can see, because I've got those loops and the structure there, I can then thread those through, and it gives me already a pattern to follow, if you like. Now, if you've enjoyed seeing all the flowers here today, we do have a fabulous spectacular coming up, and that is the Interfloral World Championships, which are going to be in Manchester. Now, the Interfloral World Cup actually started in 1979. It's never been to this country before, and incredibly, it's actually in Manchester, so that really isn't far from us, is it? It's going to be held over 3 days in September, and obviously there will be a floristry competition there, but also there will be a chance for demonstrators from NEFA to show what we do, which is a really, really fantastic thing. Right, these are fabulous Kurkuma. They are of the ginger family, and these are called Siam Soul, and fabulous again, fabulous cerise colour. Now, these are, as I say, from the ginger family, and it's the variety, the Kurkuma longa, that we get turmeric from. So obviously native to Southeast Asia. Well, what a gorgeous flower. These also come in white. They also come in a paler pink as well, paler lilac. So taking some of the flowers towards the back of the design as well, take your eye right through the arrangement. Now we've got a lot of those darker cerise there, so I just wanted to put a couple of the pip chrysanthemums in, just taking in a little bit of a paler colour through. Now with a hand tie, what you can do if you find that one of the flowers isn't in the position that you want, you can just loosen your grip slightly and then you can adjust them. Taking those through, and a couple of Arthur Reader cards as well. Has anyone any idea how many colours we see? It's said as humans, apparently we see about 1 million different colours, but certain species of butterflies, fish and birds, it's said that they see about 99 million more colours than we do, which is incredible. But you know what I think is so amazing? Is how scientists work that out. And they largely see so many more colours than we do because they see the ultraviolet end of the spectrum, which we as humans generally don't. So I am going to take a little bit of the ruscus around the base. Pop another wild carnation in here. And I'm going to show you a really easy way to tie off your hand ties. Just taking them away from the base. Now there's lots of ways you can tie a hand tie. You can use twine, you can use paper covered wire. But one of the easiest ways I find is to get either a stem or a skewer or a twig and just thread an elastic band on there. And this way you can just lay that onto your flowers and just pull the elastic band around, so, and you can just thread that over. pinned off, but it is easy. Let me use another one. So laying that on and then just pulling the elastic band around. And it just saves you getting into that muddle of having lots and lots of wire and cords around. I'm just going to trim that there. So if you'd like to win one of these designs, please do buy one of the raffle tickets. If you'd like to know about joining a flower club or have any other questions, please come and speak to us. If you're interested in making some jewellery, come and speak to us. We'd love to speak to you. So there we go, finishing off with a little hand-tied structure. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Time for a little sit down at this point in the day, isn't it? So I hope you're having a comfy seat while you watch our demonstration. So my name's Debbie. I'm a member of NAFAS, which is the National Association of Flower Arrangement Societies. I'll tell you a little bit more about NAFAS during the demonstration. But what I'm going to show you today is hopefully some simple tips for you to put your flowers into nice containers at home. I often use things from the charity shops or just things that you've got about the house. And this is one item I'm going to use. This is a charity shop pot, just a tin bucket basically. Now in here I have put some wire, chicken wire. Now you may think that you want to use the small mesh chicken wire for flower arranging. It's actually you want to use the bigger gauge, the 2-inch gauge wire. And when you're putting your wire into your container, don't scrunch it up. Try to keep it in layers as much as possible. That way you'll get the stems in much easier. And this is probably one of the simplest ways that you can flower arrange. It's just a jam jar obviously, and then I put a crisscross of garden twine. So if you have a vase of flowers and you pop them in, they just flop to the side, this will help to stand up. Now I appreciate today we've got people who are flower arrangers, people who are non-flower arrangers, or just flower lovers, and that's all great. So bear with me, I'm going to teach you some things that some of you will know, and hopefully some of you will find interesting. So with our tin pot, we've got our chicken wire in there and a water source obviously at the bottom. So I'm going to start with some helenium. These are native to the UK. They do grow very well in a nice sunny part of your garden, but they will equally grow well in shade. They're quite a nice robust plant. Just taking a little bit off the foliage from the base. And what I tend to do if I'm working into chicken wire, I will go a little bit short with the stems to begin with, and then I can take some more height into the design as I go. So NAFAS, the National Association of Flower Arrangement Societies, it began in 1959 when various flower arranging clubs and garden clubs came together and formed NAFAS as it is today. We now have 21 areas across the UK, and within those areas there are many flower clubs, and they all generally have a flower club once a month. Now if you're wondering what happens at a flower club, generally there is a demonstration similar to this but usually on a theme. Each month you'd have a different demonstrator, and they would have different styles and different approaches to the demonstration, so it's all, as I say, different every month. Now also the club that you go to may have workshops, and you'll be able to learn some actual flower arranging itself. It's going to take that a little bit shorter. And of course the flower arranging classes and clubs, they just give you a great opportunity to work with like-minded people who enjoy flowers, and then you'll have trips out coming to places such as today, and it's just a really lovely pastime. Right, so some very simple helenium in there. Now I'm going to give this a little bit of height, this design, just using some red twigs. And I group these together just to give them a bit more structure. Now I've left these until I put the helenium in, so I've got a little bit more stability than the chicken wire. Now the reason I'm using chicken wire as opposed to foam, obviously we need to try and be more green and work sustainably with our flower arranging. And often we use foam. Foam does contain plastic, it actually contains formaldehyde, which is why we need to try where we can to look for alternatives. That's not to say we can't do anything in foam, but we do need to think about where we're going with it. Just popping a little bit of the Petunia into the back. Petunia is a lovely ornamental shrub known as red robin or red tip. And some fabulous little red gerberas, minis. These are called Suri, a lovely red. And Geminis, I often think they need a little bit of extra TLC. They do have quite furry stems, so they don't generally like a lot of water up their stems, but they do drink a lot. So you have to be quite mindful of making sure their test tubes are topped up if you've got them in test tubes. They're also quite susceptible to bacteria gerbera, so I often carry them in their own separate water source, even if that's just their own little jam jar within the bucket. But I always think they're worth the extra little bit of care, aren't they? Known as the African daisies gerberas. Beautiful. And you can get so many varieties now. So you can see how I can just pop these in very easily into that chipping wire. They're just going straight through. Give you a twirl there. Popping some ivy into the back of the container. Now in the helenium, the centre of the helenium, they do have the yellow. So I want to really bring that yellow out using some of our yellow roses. Yellow being a very luminous colour, and in flower arranging you would always find that a yellow flower would be a flower that colours would come towards you, such as the red as well, as opposed to blue, which would be quite a receding colour. So it is something you need to consider when you're arranging. So this is going to be a nice bright design for us. So as I mentioned, working sustainably, of course, there are lots of ways we can think about. Now, if you are to use foam, I always suggest that once you've soaked the foam and you're discarding the water, if you can, discard the water through an old pillowcase or some kind of material such as that, because it will contain some of the sediment and it'll stop that going into our water source, into the food chain, which is obviously what we don't want. Now you can see we've got a very luminous yellow there. Now I do want to take some of that yellow higher into the design. So I've got some of the Lysomachia vulgari. This flower only really flowers actually at the top of the stems. What an interesting flower. So this will take the yellow right up to the top of the design. So as a member of NAFAS, I'm a member of a local flower club in Thornby, well, not too far away. And also I'm a member of a flower club in Cheshire, because the flower club I'm a member of in Cheshire is actually an online club. And that's very handy if you're not able to actually get along to the meetings, but you still want to join a flower club, you may want to consider LIM. So you can actually see the demonstrations online. The only thing you miss out on is the raffle, but you still get to see the whole demonstration, which is really great. Just turning that around for you. Continue with a couple more of the red gerberas. Now, if you were interested in trying a flower club, do come along and ask us about them. We can try and direct you to your nearest club. Each club will meet at a different time, generally evenings, some of them are afternoon. And you can always go along as a visitor. So if you want to just see what it's like, give it a go. So I thought we'd start with something nice and bright for our first one. So that's just a simple pot from the charity shop and just some chicken wire. There we are. Thank you very much. Right, something a little bit more contemporary for my next design. I do love to make structures. This has been made using aluminium wire, and then it's bound with paper covered wire, and this is a rustic string or twine, and you can thread that around. As you can see, it's quite sturdy, quite firm, and the structure there allows me then to place the flowers through the actual structure and make something quite interesting. Now I have some gorgeous curcuma. These are curcuma cyan shine. Aren't they absolutely adorable? Now these are part of the ginger family, and it's actually the variety of the curcuma longa where we get turmeric from, which is the same family. So you can see how I'm threading those through the frame. Now I think sometimes people are a bit wary of trying to do a hand tie. Obviously this is quite a contemporary hand tie, and I think when you give yourself a structure, it makes it a little bit easier to start off with. Now another lovely flower for us today. These are the chrysanthemums Etrusco. Absolutely gorgeous, very fluffy variety. So we've got a bit of a contrast here, where we've got quite a smooth texture in the curcuma, and then we've got a bit of a rougher texture with the chrysanthemums. Chrysanthemums are native to China. Apparently you can eat both the leaves and the flowers of chrysanthemums, although I haven't knowingly tried them. Now I am deliberately trying to keep the flowers contained fairly close around the structure, otherwise I'm just losing the whole form of it. So taking those in right through, and then you can just nestle them in a position. Now I always think it's interesting how flower arranging, as with all designs, styles come and go, don't they, and then they come back again. You know, we're looking at now using a lot of chicken wire, which was used a long time ago in flower arranging. But we are going back to that, and often we go back to go forward, don't we? Some lovely variegated euonymus. Euonymus variegata, aren't they fabulous? Perfect for this design with their very vertical form. Running those through. Now throughout flower arranging history, we had a very forward-thinking lady, Constance Spry. I'm sure many of you will have heard of her. She was largely due to Constance Spry that our flower arranging is known as an art form. She was in the 20s and 30s, she was very prominent and she was very forward-thinking. She used to use lots of very unusual plant material at the time. She would use artichokes and cabbages, all sorts of things, and do very mass-style designs, which is influenced by the Dutch Flemish painting of that era. So just taking the chrysanthemums right through. So obviously we're not going to have a lot of foliage in this design. There we go. Let's try again with you. And one last flower. These are the ornithologan, or chinchorrees they're known as. Now these do take a little while to open up, but when they do, they last a long, long time. And each of those have got lots and lots of lovely buds on them. You'll get the lovely white flowers coming out, whoever wins this in our raffle today. Very long stems for such a tiny little bud, aren't they? to show you something a little bit different with the structure mechanic. And I'm going to show you a really simple way to tie off your hand ties. Obviously you can tie them with paper covered wire, you can use twine, and often you can get yourself in a bit of a knot tying them up. But this is a really simple way. And I just use either a twig or a skewer stem and just thread an elastic band on there. Just place it across, and then you can just pull the elastic band around and hook it over. So simple, it's one of those. So that's my top tip of the day. I'm just going to trim that down. And just pop that in the jar for you. So there we are, a little bit of a structured bouquet. Thank you very much. Another of my little charity shop requirements. This is actually a lampshade. Makes for a very simple container. Obviously I've put some foliage in there. We've got the Pittosporum, some Fatsias. Where would we be without Fatsias in flower arranging? They're probably one of the largest plant materials in our English garden, so they're very, very useful. Right, to give ourselves a little bit of height, I've got some of the Ruscus. This is a soft Ruscus. It's a lovely malleable plant material. Now to go with the lime green, I love lime green in lots of designs. I place the Ruscus just a little bit going slightly back. It will stop your design appearing to be falling forwards to you if you put it completely perpendicular. So some fabulous gerbers again. These are the cookies and cream variety, a very popular gerber. Now all of these flowers today have been well conditioned, and to condition them I would remove the foliage on the bases of the stems. Always make sure you don't have foliage in your water on your flowers. Obviously it won't do the water any good, it will just go all a bit mushy. But always cut your stems at a 45-degree angle. This way you've got the largest surface area for your flowers to draw the water up the stems. So they've got the best chance of getting a really good drink. Now if you've enjoyed the lovely flowers here today, you may also be interested in going to Interflora. They have their World Cup in Manchester coming up in September. Now the Interflora World Cup actually started in 1979, and it's not actually been to this country before, and amazingly enough it's actually going to be not only in this country but in Manchester. So it's a really fantastic opportunity. Just show you where we're going there. So it's on for 3 days. And I definitely think it's going to be worth going. Just some lovely eustoma, or known as Lysianthus. This is Danube Champagne's variety. So the Interflora World Cup, there will obviously be floristry competitions. So there will be all sorts of other exhibits. Now as NAFAS, we are very fortunate to be demonstrating there. So we are looking forward to showing what we do as flower arrangers and some lovely ideas. Such a gorgeous colour those, aren't they? Now I always consider that I kind of got into flower arranging through the back door. I was actually a dancer first, and then I realised I couldn't dance forever, so I retrained as a makeup artist, and I still do all of these things. I just keep adding things on. My sister Louise encouraged me to enter competitions such as you see here on my local show in Southport in Cheshire, and from there she then said, why don't you come along to the demonstrators course, learn about the principles and elements of design. I actually had no intention of becoming a demonstrator, and so it's definitely something that I fell into. But I do love the demonstrating. I love all the preparation work. I love beavering away in my studio, and I love coming to see people enjoying how we're putting flowers together and all the interesting things that we can do. We're just taking in a little bit of the glycerin here. We're nearly there. I'm just going to add a little bit more foliage to this. The gorgeous Wygelia, very nice flower arranging plant material. Now, most of my flowers that I have today have come from a wholesaler in Chorley itself, actually. We use Flower Vision, who serve us very well. I actually have my flowers delivered to me in Formby, and they have an amazing selection, which is always useful. So there we are, just a simple lampshade and a little few flowers. Thank you. Right, for my final design, I thought it'd be nice to have something that you could put in your garden. So, I should just warn you, you won't be taking the hoop, but you will be taking the diamond shape. Just to let you know. So we've got some nice iridescent colour on there. I actually have some small ones hanging in my garden and they look beautiful. So hopefully you can enjoy them as well. So again, taking the ruscus, I'm going to give this a kind of crescent shape coming out of the container. So something like ruscus just lends itself to that with its beautiful curves. Ruscus is a very useful foliage for creating a nice outline in a design. Just gives you a shape very quickly. A little bit of ivy. And I thought with the iridescent colours in this, you'd go for a little bit of purple and pink. Some lovely pip chrysanthemums. So as I say, I do like to be in my studio making things, and I'm very partial to making things with sisal at the moment. Sisal is a very textured, coarse textured plant material, and it's really useful for almost sculpting with. I create these lovely flower petals. It's from the agave avellana plant, Cisalana plant, and as I say, you can create great things with them. I've actually started making little pieces of jewellery, as you can see, and I actually teach the jewellery making online, so it's just a really short class and it's great fun. So if anyone does have any questions or they want to know how to, find out if that flower club near them, please do come and see us, and we will try and direct you. I know you'll get a warm welcome at the flower clubs. So just taking the pip in there. A couple of our little gerberas, these are called Kermit. I often wonder about people naming some of the flowers. You can imagine people sitting around a boardroom, can't you? What should we call that one? Let's go Kermit. Now I have kept these in their own little jar of water because it's quite humid in here. We have some of the Silver Queen, the Memphis Silver Queen. gorgeous garden type plant material, which I think really lends itself to this design. This is Saponaria. It's actually related to Gypsophilia. So it's a nice, very light, airy plant material. And the word Saponaria, it comes from the word, the Latin name sapo, referring to soap. And you can actually, one species still actually we make soap from it. It's a liquid soap, and it's used to clean antique tapestries. So it's a very specialised soap. It has the saponins in it. Show you where we're going. So we're nearly there. A little bit of a stilby, adding a different texture into the design. A stilby's got a really feathery flower. It's actually, its common name is false goat's beard. It's native to Europe and North America. So hopefully whoever wins this, they'll have somewhere to hang it nicely. Someone got an idea where it's going? It's nice, though, isn't it, when you've got a plan? This is a very difficult show for us plantaholics, isn't it? I've already succumbed to the succulents. Right, I think we're nearly there. Pop this down. So I hope you've enjoyed the quite straightforward arrangements today. And if you're going to consider coming along to a flower club, do please consider that. I'm sure you'll have a really fun time and you'll discover this whole world of flower arranging. So there we are, a little bit of a garden diamond. There we are, thank you very much for watching and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.